Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad you're here. Please remember to subscribe and to share this channel with others. I'm just going to mention something really quick here. So I was on Dr. Ramani's podcast. She's a narcissistic abuse international expert, and I actually spoke with her in Dubai at two mental health conferences, and we talked about these experiences of living with narcissistic abuse. Dr. Ramani told me that she stopped using the words high conflict because she heard me speak about the idea that these are not high conflict cases, these are abuse cases. If you are experiencing this, of course, someone's going to call it high conflict. They're going to say, how come you can't get along? They're going to say, oh, there's always two sides to every story. I call BS on that. There is not. When there is an abuser, there's only one person who is exerting power and control over the other person. And let's be really clear about this. If we want to take people and separate them outside of a dynamic that is toxic, I always ask this question when I'm talking to clinicians and I'm consulting with them about whether or not this relationship that they're working with in a couple situation is abusive or not. I always say to them, separate the people outside of that relationship. Would that particular, let's say, woman be so dysregulated and overwhelmed and maybe controlling? It feels like control. When you cannot control the rest of your life, you are going to be asking why your partner's not home on time over and over again. You're going to be asking, are you going to be maybe nitpicking a little bit because there's so much out of your control that you are attempting to try to gain some sense in your life because of lots of manipulation and gaslighting. So, who are the people in your life outside of the abusive relationship? Because I guarantee you that those are people who will begin to regulate. Those are people who will begin to feel more personal power. They will not be so victim centered. Instead, they will begin to heal. Now, it takes time for some people. I have a couple of clients who have been out of the abusive relationship for 4 or 5 years, and they are still very much in this victim mode. And I get it. It turns their friends off. It turns people off. It makes people say, okay, enough. It's over. It's been over for a long time. That doesn't help a victim. It doesn't, but I get why sometimes it might feel exhausting to be around these people. The reality is what we need to do is just keep listening. And if this is you, what you need to do is make sure you have a trauma-informed, narcissistic abuse, coercive control informed therapist. I have some on my website that have been trained by me. I offer a clinician, attorney, and coach training. The coach and attorney training is 10 hours long, or you can do it self-study for about 4 hours and 15 minutes. And the clinician training is 14 hours long, 2 full days, where we really unpack all of these experiences of adult and child victims. Because here's the deal. It's super important. It's super important to understand that when people come to us and they're anxious and overwhelmed and maybe dysregulated and behaving in ways that we're like, what the heck is going on? Is it possible that there's trauma underneath that that is causing that? And I say yes, absolutely. I hope has been helpful. If you are this person, I want you to really look for a therapist who can guide you in this process. I always say EMDR, DBT, all of these wonderful clinical interventions, mind mapping, you name it, neurofeedback, amazing, right? It doesn't do a lot of good until you've been validated. Those things don't help until someone has actually heard your story and literally really heard it and understood what you had experienced. And so I want to say to you, if you're a victim listening to this, you are not alone. There's a world of support out there. And there are so many victims trying to survive and thrive in a world where abuse is prevalent, not only in our intimate relationships, but in our systems, which is why my colleague and I wrote this book, Framed, because it's everywhere. It permeates, it's in our governments, it's in policy initiatives by governments. I hope that's been helpful. On a positive note, I just want to say that you are doing the hardest work there is as protective parents. And it's not a thankless job. It really will make a difference. I hope you have a great day.